In the late 80s and early 90s, there was a question that was put to the martial arts community. Which system of fighting was superior? Was it sumo, judo, karate, kung fu, boxing? No one knew. And answering that question would lead to an event that would change the martial arts community forever. This tournament would bring together multiple combatants from a number of different disciplines to fight in a cage. And there was only one rule. There were no rules. Much like in the movie Bloodsport, the difference being that this was a real-life event and not a work of fiction. That event would be known as the Ultimate Fighting Championships, UFC 1. The tournament was held on November 12, 1993. Many martial arts movements were sparked that day. More notably, many martial arts practitioners and fans would learn of a martial arts system that hailed from Brazil and the importance of knowing how to fight from the ground. Flash forward to today, and from that first UFC, many other venues have sparked up over the years to have competitions. Modern-day gladiators stepping into the octagon to put their skills to the test in the hopes of being the best fighter in the world. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of one of those modern-day gladiators. To quote Bruce Buffer, it's time. His name is Peter Barrett, but in the cage, he's known as Slippery Pete. If you've ever been a victim of one of those spirit-crushing knees, power bombs, or a vicious roundhouse kick, ouch! Well, he's 153 pounds of pure up. Yeah, I said that.
So Peter Barrett started training us a few years ago, maybe like 5 years ago now. And Pete was one of those guys that, like, before you meet him, I hated Peter Barrett, right? He's just kind of a douche a little bit, like, but he's our douche now. Like, it's like, he's one of those kids that, like, when people don't meet him, they think that maybe they don't like him so much. But as soon as you have a conversation with Pete, like, you love Pete, like, right away. Like, very, like, charismatic, just a really, really good addition to any gym. So my gym is Lozon Mixed Martial Arts. We're in Rainham, Massachusetts, just south of Boston. We have a lot of UFC fighters here, but we also have a ton of families and kids and everything else. So it started out where we basically had like a fighter program kind of, and a lot of other people kind of filtered through. Whereas now it's like full on. It's honestly more kids and families than it is fighters.
So at the end of last season, I was sent a video from a fan who was aware that I wanted to do an MMA episode, and the video that he sent me was it was a YouTube link, and it was from Cage Titans, and it featured a fighter named by the name of Slippery Pete Peterborough. And I'm watching this video, I'm blown away. This guy comes out and he's got the American flag behind him, and if you know me, it's USA, USA. So it's got the American flag. And he comes out, and I'm thinking drop kicks right away, and I liked it. I liked the whole thing. I said, man, I want to meet this guy. And I remember calling Barrett Shidoshi, and I was like, hey, if I can get in touch with him, and he agrees, let's do this MMA episode. So I ended up doing a little back and forth with Pete, and yeah, he said, let's do it, and we did. And it was awesome because, you know, he trains out of Joe Lozon's gym, and I've always wanted to meet him as well. So it kind of, I call that the twofer.
I love what a great addition Peter's been to the gym. You know, he runs classes for us. He's always down to help out people. You know, he helped out with, you know, the high school wrestling team, you know, BC High. You know, he's just really, really good. Always super helpful for anyone that's, you know, in here, whether they're a professional fighter here to fight in the UFC, you know, brand new amateur fighter just starting out, or someone that has no business fighting at all. It's just, you know, trying to, you know, learn something new and make some friends and whatever else. So Peter's just, he's awesome. We're really lucky to have him.
So we're really pumped to be here. The travel was very short. I mean, we're always nice when we do an episode in Massachusetts. It's less travel. So one of the things that we are attempting to do this season is to emphasize not just the martial artists that we do episodes with, but also where they train, and give the viewer an experience that they would receive if they walked into the dojo, school, or gym for the first time. We feel like it's just as important, and it's part of the journey.
So I started getting into martial arts. I actually did Taekwondo as a kid before I did, you know, more of your traditional sports growing up. But I started with Taekwondo, Boston Taekwondo under Master Pina. When I was a kid, got into the regular sports up until high school. I was playing football, lacrosse, baseball, basketball. You know, like I said, kind of your traditional sports. And then I would say this kind of started in high school when I started wrestling. And while wrestling's not a traditional martial art, there's a lot of things that are very similar, a lot of common denominators between martial arts and wrestling.
All right, hey, Slippery Pete, it is good to see you, my man. You know, look, watched your stuff online, saw some of your fights. So we're really happy that you decided to do a thing with us, you know, be on the Martial Maze, Modern Combative, so we're definitely digging that. So we're gonna let you guys get right to it. Now I'm noticing this is active, right? Because I mean, like the whole time I've been here, like there's been people just doing stuff. So the gym is constantly active, right? So where are we? Because we've already told folks where we are, but we want you to tell them anyway.
Sweet. So we're down in Lane, Massachusetts, over at Lozon Mixed Martial Arts. This is Joe Lozon's school. I train here 3 or 4 days a week. I also teach some of the kickboxing, Muay Thai classes here, and I get down with the fight team here as well.
Awesome. Now, who's the gentleman who's going to be helping you today?
This is a fellow UFC veteran, Jay Barrett. He's one of my longtime teammates.
Oh, awesome! Look at this. He's got the woo on his chest forever, though. That's it. So we're like, yeah, we always giving you love on that right there. You know,
that's facts.
So, all right, so we're gonna get out your way. We're gonna let you do your thing, and once again, thank you.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. Bang out.
All right, so fighting southpaw, one of my favorite matchups is this open stance. And one of the great things that I can do to take advantage of the open stance is attack the backside. That being said, the rear kick to the leg will do a lot of damage. Kick to the arm will do a lot of damage. But my favorite is the rear liver. The reason I like the liver shot is not because it's my hardest kick, but it's the most damaging kick with the least amount of effort. So it's low risk, high reward. With the traditional Muay Thai kick, we try to kick through the body. With the liver kick, we kick into the body, and it's almost more like a slap. What we do is send a shockwave through the body to shut that liver down. So one of my favorite ways to really get to that liver is to set up with a big body kick, feint it, come back underneath the elbow. Start with the jab to understand my range. Now I get him thinking about the body. Nice and high, that's gonna bring his arms up. Again, I'll give him the feint second time, get him thinking about it, and then I'm gonna sneak it in here. Right up, and into the liver. Now, it sends that shockwave through the body. And like I said, it doesn't have to be the hardest one. I really just wanna shut that liver down. I didn't get back into martial arts from high school with the wrestling until college. I had been playing rugby, and one of my buddies convinced me to go try a Muay Thai class with one of the top kids in the area. He was an up-and-coming prospect, Brandon Thatch. His dad, Clarence Thatch, actually just passed away, was a legend, a living legend in the martial arts community. They had to rent out the Denver auditorium to do his wake last week. But that being said, Brandon was one of my first teachers. He was training at Inner Strength Fitness, and they had a fight team. And I just started picking up the Muay Thai and the kickboxing really quick. And then they realized I wrestled, so they were inviting me to the fight team. And it kind of just really started me thinking, like, is this something I could do? Is this something I would really like to do? And it really just lit a fire within inside of me that reminded me of everything I loved about wrestling, but it was martial arts. Again, the second technique we went was trapping that lead hand into a sweep. This works from both your orthodox and your southpaw. It does work better from the orthodox side, but all I have to do is walk across to get there so I can hit that same sweep. So again, I like to set it up with some feints in my hands. I never want to walk in naked. If I come in without setting it up, I'm going to put myself in danger to get hit. So I got to get those hands up to get them thinking. So I'll start with the jab, cross, bring his hands up. I'll throw the jab, feint the cross, walk through. This puts me in the position to then hit that sweep, to pull his leg out. Again, we'll start from the top. Jab, cross. Now I'm going to walk through, I'm going to cross and hit that sweep. That's going to get me within range. My hand is on the head. My other hand is trapping this hand here. The reason why trapping that hand is so important is because we throw elbows in mixed martial arts. If I come in that close without minding that hand, I'm going to have to deal with that elbow. So I trap that elbow and I pull over that foot. Here. Now, that's a great way to dish off the base, to further an attack, or get the takedown there. Again, one more time. I'll show it from the right hand side right here. This is a little bit quicker because I can throw it off my lead jab and then walk through with my rear hand. So here, as I walk through, I come and I pull. And I hit that sweep. It was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it was Muay Thai, boxing, and the fusion of all of them at the same time. So it really lit a fire inside of me. I didn't end up taking a fight until much later in life, but I was 25 years old when I took my first amateur mixed martial arts fight, and I lost, and it was probably the best thing that ever could happen to me. I came out of the cage, and I looked at my coach, and I was like, I want to get me another guy for tonight. And he was like, oh, Peter, we gotta wait. You can't. We don't do multiple fights in one night anymore. It's a little more regimented than that. But we can sign you up for the next fight card. So it was a combination of those things that really just gave me an opportunity to better myself and compete. And now the third technique to highlight the mixed martial arts, we've done some clinch, we've done some Muay Thai. We're gonna work into some wrestling. Now with mixed martial arts, we can't just go in for a naked takedown, we're going to get hit. We have to remember I have to worry about knees, elbows, his sprawl, his hands. So what I really want to do is get his hands high and get him thinking about my hand. So I'll throw some arm punches to get him high. And then, again, we're going to open things up with a feint. I'm going to throw my jab, feint the cross, get him thinking high. That's going to open up his legs for me to get into a nice single leg. Here. Now, situationally, it'll change how this works out. Ideally, from here, I can stand right up with the leg, hike it up, get underneath it, and hit a nice, jump forward, hit a nice little sweep here. And I attack his legs, or attack his hips.
What's up, man?
Now, situationally, it might go a little differently. I might not get all the way down on the leg, I might get higher on the leg. Again, it's the same entry. I'm going to jab, cross, jab, feint the cross, get those hands up, and I'm looking for that leg. Sometimes it's the body lock. Here. Again, I want to get this leg up, get him bouncing, and attack his base. However I get to his hips, as long as I bump and sweep at the same time, I'm going to be able to bring him to the ground. Again, one more time. Again, the hands don't have to be exactly like this. I just want to get him thinking to get his hands and his attention away from my takedown. jab, jab, cross. I can even throw a hook. Jab, hook, the hands are just high. Feint, that gets those hands up, gives me an opportunity to think. I get to that leg. Here, again, to that body lock has it turned up. As I stand up with it, I want to bump that hip and take it to the mat. We just took from that takedown that we had talked about, the sweep to the takedown, single leg takedown. A couple ways we can finish that. Obviously, we could finish with strikes, or we could finish with a submission. One of the variations that I chose was into a rear naked choke, and it's never going to be the same thing every single time. Situationally, you can always scramble a little different, but what we're looking to do is get to that body lock, get him to the ground, get a crossbody grip, pull him back into my guard, and cinch up a rear naked choke. So, again, we're gonna get his hands high, think about my hands, feint into the takedown, right to the body. We get here, we're gonna bump to the ground. As we take him down, depending on how this scramble goes, ideally, I wanna get this hand back here and sit him into my guard here as I put my hooks in as we roll. From there, I wanna lift the head and cinch this arm underneath his chin. Now, a common mistake, people like to grab here first and then go behind the head. If you go behind the head first and move his head forward and then sneak that into your elbow second, you'll get that a lot tighter and a lot more efficient. A lot less muscle. Again, we'll go through that one more time. I want to get his hands high so I can attack his legs. We start with the hands. Now I'm going to open him up with the feint to the body lock single. As I get here, we bump, take him to the ground. From here, if I can, I want to grab here across body, pull him in as I fix my hooks. From here, I want to lift the head up and get underneath. Once I get underneath, I grab that shoulder there, that gives me the grip. Now I take my left hand and I go behind his head and move it forward. See, I'm already getting the tap before I lock in that rear naked. As long as I get this hand here and I push forward, it's a quick fix to an easy tap. Now the second variation is the strikes. I love throwing elbows. My elbow is still messed up from my last fight 3 months ago because I threw it so often. Now we're gonna get him to his back, we're gonna pass that hand and really take advantage of the elbows right on that the headphone line. And what that means is the rules in MMA is you can't hit behind the ears. So if you were to put headphones on, that's about the line where you can strike. So legal, illegal. Mm-hmm. What I wanna do is land here, right on that line. So from the takedown, get those hands high again. Feint to open the legs, body lock into the single, bump to the ground. From here, I want to come to a side control, and I'm going to make room with my hand here. Now obviously, I don't have to push on his face, but I want to make it as uncomfortable for him as possible. So if I'm pushing on his face, he's instinctually going to fight my hand. So when he starts pushing into my hand, I give him a little bit of flavor. Boom. He pushes into my hand, boom. Or I could come here, boom, boom, boom. One way or the other, you're throwing elbows like that, they're not gonna last long. It's a very short road to victory there. Yeah. Again, we'll go through that one more time. We're gonna get his hands high, open his legs with the feint, boom, boom. Here, to open the leg takedown. I get that nice body lock, bump, pass the side control, and now I wanna look for elbows. I can grab the inside of this here to make a connection, or I can come here and look for a connection. But I want to get some pressure on his head before I deliver the elbows. He's obviously going to try to roll into me as fast as possible, which might give me the rest of his face. Again, elbows are the sharpest part of your body. Very short road to victory there. How'd you read?
Again.
So people have this persona of me, Slippery Pete, the MMA fighter, and it really rattles my customers at work when they find out that I fight, because I'm a really sweet person. I try to take care of people. I go out of my way to make sure that anything that they need is taken care of. That being said, outside of fighting, right now I'm working in the service industry. My family came up in the restaurant game. My grandfather started for Howard Johnson's way back in the day, and his big thing for them as the VP of operations was the ground round. The ground round was his concept that he brought to fruition, and yeah, no kidding, right? So he was with Howard Johnson's for that, and then retired from Howard Johnson's, or left Howard Johnson's, started his own restaurant industry, restaurant business, and we're restaurant people. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, you can find me in West Bridgewater at Barrett's Ale House. I work for my uncle right now, and like I said, I go out of my way, I go above and beyond to make sure that everybody's getting what they need, and I'm just super sweet and cordial. And when I do fight, we do put it on the TVs because we can stream it and whatnot, and people are just amazed. They're like, I didn't know you had that side in you. And I'm like, most people don't know that I have this side in me. You guys get the special treatment here at work, because it's all about being a people person and creating rapport, and making sure that they feel comfortable and that they're getting what they need at the restaurant. So it's really night and day for me. Some people are really shocked, and some people are like, I knew you had something going on behind the eyes that I couldn't figure out. But I just try to be a sweet guy.
Thoughts on your last fight?
So all of my fights are incredibly entertaining. You rarely catch me in a boring fight. But my last fight, I kind of let it get under my skin. There was this kid from up in Maine, 5-1, hot prospect, was trying to, talk his way into a fight with me, and I said, you know what? He's about to find out. We'll do it. And I just went in there on a mission to let everybody know who the big dog in the Northeast was, and who the king of Cage Titans actually is. And I just beat the brakes off of him for 15 minutes. It was actually like 13 minutes. But it was a beautiful onslaught of highly calculated violence. And I mean, I mentioned it in the tutorial, but I'm still recovering my elbow from a fight in March, and we're sitting here in the second week of June. So it does take some time to heal after those things, but if you counted the elbows, I think I threw about 130 elbows in that fight, and they all landed. So there's like a lot of trauma-based tendonitis in there. So you'll catch me stretching my arm here and there, but I mean, I kept my hands high, kept my guard in the right place, and just moved forward on them and delivered a beatdown of the century. A lot of people told me that's the best fight they've ever seen in person. A lot of people said it's the best fight that's ever happened in a Cage Titans cage. So, that was, a feather in my hat that I'm happy to have.
And I gotta tell you, that was, look, I'm watching you do them elbows right there and thinking, man, how glad it wasn't my head. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that we talk about now, especially with modern combatives and the whole MMA scene, is that it's not really a set of solid disciplines, but kind of a multi-tool of all the disciplines, or the best practices, I guess you would get for the octagon. What would you tell anybody who's just starting up, or who just wants to kind of get into this or try it out? Is it one of those things that you already need to have that kind of another discipline kind of thing, or can you just come off the street?
Yeah, you could totally just come off the street. The younger you start, the better. The younger your brain, the more pliable, the easier it is to learn. But my first fight I didn't take my first fight until I was 25. So I'm like 10 years behind everybody else as far as like getting started into it. But I did wrestle all through high school. I would say for this sport, for this martial art, wrestling is definitely definitely the strongest base. Just because it's really hard to get that work ethic in any other sport. So wrestling is a supreme base, and then we've kind of filtered down what the best martial arts are. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I would say second to none, and then we look to Muay Thai because it's very aggressive, we'll stick with Muay Thai because it's very, very aggressive kickboxing. So when you can fuse the best of all three of these, and I spent a lot of time boxing as well. Boxing is another great base because it just gives you that work ethic that you would liken to like a high school wrestling room, as long as you're in a good boxing, boxing facility.
If I may add to that, all of those skills are great, but as somebody that comes off the street myself, I didn't do wrestling in high school. I don't have a long boxing, like career or amateur record or anything like that. I was just a 14-year-old kid that just wanted to learn how to do this. Your mentality and how you approach this matters, in that you have to be willing to be told that you're wrong and that you don't know what you're doing, and that you have to be willing to be coachable. If you're not able to walk onto a mat and listen to the people that are on it about the thing you're trying to learn, then you're never going to make it. You'll see people that have been here for 3, 4, 5 years, and you say, like, why haven't they progressed? It's because they haven't done the right mental work to be able to receive the learning that they have. So everybody sucks. You have to admit that when you first walk into a gym, everybody sucks, and that's okay, because eventually you just won't. Just keep showing up and being able to learn and be coachable, and eventually the people that were whooping your ass far before aren't doing that anymore. So I guess the biggest attribute for me over the last 10 years has been just be able to be told that what you're doing isn't right and grow from it.
Basically, humble yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And respect my benevolence.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Respect my benevolence.
So actually, I got it from him. Respect my benevolence. Wow, that just was hardcore.
Yeah, we do a lot. We got a lot of riches going on up in here. You know what I mean? And then you got to humble yourself if you want that.
Exactly.
All right, so we want to thank you for being on Modern Combatives, and with my partner, Barrett Chidoshi.
Now, with my partner here, Israel Lopez Sensei,
And you've been watching
the Martial Maze.
Modern Combatives.
On the next episode of Modern Combatives, we travel all the way to Seattle, Washington to get together with the Queen of Mean, the Princess of Pain, the Punisher, Kathy Long. This is definitely another must-see episode, and we look forward to it. See you soon.